What is going on, y'all? Robert Sykes, KetoSavage.com, coming back at you with another AMA Ask Me Anything episode. But before we dive into that, let's roll the intro. All right, so this question is brought to us by Amy, and Amy says, "Hi, I apologize in advance for the long question. Do you have advice for moms and wives who really want to improve their fitness for themselves and their families but have limited time and financial resources? I used to always say when I was single that you make time for the things that are important to you. I truly continue to believe this. However, I find it quite a struggle at this point in time to prioritize my fitness in a consistent and meaningful way. I have 2 young daughters. I homeschool one, and the other has severe disabilities, and much of my time and energy is spent pouring myself out for them. My husband and our home, gratefully so. We have limited income, so I can't afford to buy a ton of excessive or expensive gym equipment. I also currently do not have the time to go to the gym in the morning. I do have time to work out in the morning, but don't have the time to drive back and forth to a gym. I love lifting heavy, but am limited to dumbbells and 1 barbell with weights and plates. I have a background in fitness, so I understand the basic exercises. I just have not been following anything consistently. How might a person like me structure workouts and nutrition so that they can see some meaningful progress? I use your macro calculator on your website. I'm also wondering if it would work for a non-bodybuilder. Thanks so much for your and Crystal's time and content." Great question, Amy. So I feel like this is really relative because Crystal is kind of in a similar situation. We've got Rigel. He's 2.5 years old. He is awesome, but it definitely takes a toll on her time. And I agree with you 100%. You make time for the things that you prioritize. Like, you vote with your priorities based off of your time. And how you do anything in life is how you do everything. Now, it becomes a challenge when you've got a lot of variables and you have people dependent upon you, like spouse, kids, homeschooling, all that kind of stuff. So let me talk on what Crystal has done that's worked well for her. When Rigel was really young, we would bring him to the gym. We've got our own gym, basic equipment, but we have our own gym. So we would just have him there with us. He'd be like on a blanket, and we would work out together. Now that he's older, he's running around nonstop and is totally chaos. So what we've been doing is while he's sleeping in the mornings, Crystal wakes up early, comes here and trains with a buddy at 5 o'clock a.m., while I stay and watch Rigel, and then she gets back, takes over Rigel, and then I go work out later. That's what we've been doing, and that's worked well. For a stint there, she didn't want to leave the house. She needed to oversee him all the time, so we got some adjustable dumbbells, resistance bands, and a simple adjustable bench that we set up in a spare bedroom. That's what she used, and she made significant progress with that. It's pretty easy to preserve the muscle you've built if you're keeping it in demand. Harder to build muscle, but either way, totally doable with basic equipment. I mean, when I look at my gym, it's basically the simple stuff, barbells, dumbbells, and a few simple cable movements. Like, you don't need an excessive gym. You don't need to spend the time and money going to a corporate big box gym. You can do so much with so little with just the stuff you have at your house. If you have a pair of adjustable dumbbells and an adjustable bench that inclines and lays flat and declines, you can do so much with that. So if you're not wanting to have the time or the expense of going to a corporate gym, that's what I would personally recommend. And you can make tremendous progress with just a 3-day-a-week split, like a simple push-pull legs or full body, full body, full body. Something of that nature is great. Your kids are going to benefit immensely from seeing you prioritize your health and well-being. If they're watching you work out, if they're watching you eat quality foods, they're going to internalize that, and they're going to want to replicate it in their own form and fashion. When we do bring Rigel to the gym and we are working out together, like on the weekends, even though he's running around crazy, like, he grabs a couple light dumbbells and tries to emulate the movements that we're doing. That holds a lot of weight. Like, that means something to me because he's going to get those habits in place at a very early age. So I agree with you 100%. You prioritize the things, or you make time for the things that you prioritize, and you got to prioritize your health. As a mother that homeschools and has kids, when I look at Crystal, it's very easy to want to take a very selfless position and pour into those around you, but it is not a selfish thing to want to be as healthy as you can, because the healthier you are, the better you're going to be able to provide for those dependent upon you. So I would never recommend sacrificing your health for others, because then you're not going to be able to help others to the extent that you would ideally like to and want to do. So find time to make that work for you, and be at peace with the fact that it may not be optimal. There may be a chapter in your life where you're not hitting the PRs, or seeing the fat loss, the muscle gain that you could potentially do, but anything is better than nothing. So be at peace with that and make progress there. And as far as the macro calculator goes, yeah, that's totally applicable whether you compete or not. Any macro calculator is going to give you a generic recommendation. So I encourage you to just figure out what macro profiles work best for you. And again, kind of going back to the kids, because that holds a special place in my heart. Let them see you preparing quality, healthy foods for yourself, and feed that to them as well. Like Rigel is in the upper percentile of like all the growth metrics because he eats real food, he follows a ketogenic diet, and he's active. If you're doing that for yourself and you're implementing an environment that your kids can do that as well, then everybody in the family benefits from it. So keep rocking, Amy. I appreciate the question. I appreciate you wanting to do best for you and your family. For those of you that do not know how these AMA videos work, if you submit me a well thought out question and I use your question, then you get some free keto bricks. And Amy, you requested some milk and cookie bricks, so I've got some of those headed your way. Hopefully your kids love them too.